Dell have updated their 2024 Inspiron 16 Plus 7640 lineup with new Intel Core Ultra processors, integrated AI, Intel Arc graphics, a nice blue color design, and a new Microsoft Copilot key for AI searches. Does it offer enough for content creators and gamers? Let's find out. For those familiar with the predecessor 7630, not much has changed with the design on the new Inspiron 16 Plus. There's still the large ventilation grills along the edges and the rear for cooling. Aluminium exterior shell is in an ice blue color. The keyboard wrist rest is solid with no flexing. The keyboard and speaker area does have some flexing when pressure is applied. There's quite a bit of flexing with the display lid, not offering much protection to the screen. Starting weight is 2.24 kilograms or 4.94 pounds. Not exactly light and not one to carry around too much. There's a large vent at the bottom to extract the cold air up. Rubber feet around the main grills aid in pushing more air in. There's ventilation slots on the sides and at the rear to maintain the outgoing airflow to dissipate internal heat from the GPU and CPU. The Inspiron 16 Plus ships in packaging made with 100% recycled or renewable content that is also recyclable. The laptop has 26% post-consumer recycled plastics, post-industrial aluminium and recycled copper. There's also an etched logo to reduce waste. To open the bottom cover, remove the 9 screws, pry up the latches and then remove the lower case. Thankfully, Dell have made the memory upgradable to 64GB with 2 SODIMM slots. There's also one PCIe NVMe Gen 4x4 M.2 slot supporting one M.2 2230 or M.2 2280 solid-state drive up to 2TB. The 90Wh battery and WLAN card is removable too. This review model has a 16-inch 2.5K 2560 by 1600 anti-glare non-touch WVA display with Comfort View Plus support. Brightness is rated at 300 nits, generally good enough to use in most indoor environments and shaded areas outside. The matte display has a 16:10 aspect ratio and Dolby Vision stamp, offering more vertical space for coding or document editing. Color accuracy is rated at 100% sRGB, fine for office productivity work, but not if you intend on using it for professional photo or video editing work. The panel has a 120Hz refresh rate for smoother video motion and scrolling with long web pages. Generally, the display is good with nice viewing angles and contrast. The matte finish helps to limit the glare from reflections. One downside is the limited display options. Whether you pay £1,000 for the base model or the 1500 model, it's the only display option available. There's no superior OLED option, strange when the 7640 is aimed at content creators. On the left, we have a power jack, HDMI 2.1 up to 4K60, and a Thunderbolt 4 port with DisplayPort and power delivery. On the right, we have 2 USB 3.2 Gen 1 Type A 5GB/s ports, a headphone microphone combo jack, and a micro SD card slot. Inside is an Intel Wi-Fi 6E AX211 2x2 802.11ax and Bluetooth wireless combo card. Wireless coverage was excellent throughout testing through a couple of rooms. The Bluetooth connection was reliable to external mouse or speaker. There's a 2-level backlit AI keyboard. The AI stands for the Microsoft Copilot shortcut key added to the keyboard, giving you an option to use this type of AI search. Typing with the keyboard is good, but nothing exciting. Not up there with the Lenovo or HP keyboards. The keys feel a bit plasticky and smooth when touch typing, leading to poor tactile feedback. The Maillard-coated touchpad is smooth for finger gliding, and the integrated buttons work well and fairly quietly. My only gripe is the touchpad could be larger to make full use of the large chassis. Audio is taken care of with 4 speakers, audio processing by Dolby Atmos and Waves Max Audio Pro. 2 up-facing speakers are located above the keyboard deck and 2 down-firing underneath at the sides. Sound from the quad speakers is good. Listening to a range of music on Spotify background, mids and highs are good. Volume can get decently loud, but the bass is absent. If I'm nitpicking, the speakers lack some warmth to the tones and vocals. Video conferencing is good and voices from gaming are clear. Here are some audio samples. The 1080p webcam with dual digital microphone array is good for video conference meetings, crisp quality and colour reproduction as long as you're in a well-lit area, which is pretty much every laptop webcam out there. In a darkened room or gloomy day, the video quality drops considerably. This review model has a Meteor Lake Series Intel Core Ultra 7 155H with 16 cores and 22 threads. The first gen Core Ultra chip replaces the 13th gen processors. The 16 cores comprises of 6 Intel Redwood Cove Performance or P cores up to 4.8 GHz and 10 Intel Crestmont Efficient or E cores, consisting of 8 main cores up to 3.8 GHz and 2 E cores in the low power island up to 2.5 GHz. New in the Ultra Core processor is integrated AI Boost MPU with 2 Gen 3 engines for hardware AI workload acceleration up to 1.4 GHz. Processor base power from the 155H is rated at 28 watts with a minimum assured power of 20 watts. watts, and a maximum turbo power of 115 watts, along with 32 gigabytes of DDR5 5600 MHz in dual channel mode, and a 2 terabyte M.2 PCIe NVMe solid state drive. The Inspiron flies through most tasks thrown at it, whether it's office productivity, coding, or Photoshop. No surprise considering its top specs. For our benchmark tests, we set the best performance mode in Windows and plugged the laptop in the mainstream testing. Here are the benchmarking results for the Inspiron 16 Plus 7640. 3D Mark Time Spy results came in with an overall score of 8,521, CPU score of 11,481, and a graphics score of 8,151. 3D Mark Time Spy Extreme overall came in at 4,014, graphics score of 3,833, and CPU score of 5,492. 3D Mark Fire Strike Ultra results came in with an overall score of 5,142, graphics score of 4,959, physics score of 27,476, and a combined score of 2,649. 3D Mark Fire Strike Extreme results came in with an overall score of 10,013, graphics score of 10,330, physics score of 27,623, and a combined score of 4,580. 3D Mark Port Royal score came in with 4,639. 3D Mark Speedway score of 2,035. Cinebench 2024 testing produced a score multi-core of 891 and 103 in single core. PC Mark 10 had an overall score of 6,926. PC Mark 10 Extended had an overall score of 9,069. Superposition resulted in a score of 15,816. Geekbench 6.2.2 CPU benchmark resulted in a single core score of 2,431 and 13,260 multi-core. The GPU Compute benchmark results came in with a score of 91,964. Blender version 4.1.0 benchmark had a score of 226.77 for the Intel Core Ultra 7 155H. For the RTX 4060, the Blender score was 3,238.57. For the Intel Arc iGPU, the Blender score was 326.60. Here is a comparison with the ThinkBook 16P Gen 4. The Intel Core Ultra 7 155H sits close to its rival, the AMD Ryzen 7 Pro 7840U, just below the Intel i7 1370P, and 39.22% behind the newer Intel i7 14700HX in multi-core benchmarking scores. Under best performance mode on mains running 3D Mark 10 Time Spy, temperatures hit 41 Celsius at the rear vents, 36 Celsius by the side vents, and 40 Celsius at the center of the keyboard deck. Running Flight Simulator, temperatures hit 36.2 Celsius on the side vents, blow hot air onto your mouse hand. Fan noise is really loud at 63 decibels, 44.5 Celsius by the rear vents, and 46 Celsius at the center of the keyboard. Chassis and keyboard deck gets toasty warm. Launching a game like COD, the dual fans spin up fast and loud up to 61 decibels constantly. Temperatures hit 41.4 Celsius at the center of the keyboard and rear. Side vents up to 34 Celsius. Using the quick CPU tool plugged in balance mode idle, CPU temperature is around 43 Celsius. CPU clock speed is around 1 GHz on the E cores and 2 GHz on the P cores, and 6 to 10 watts CPU power. With video playback balance mode, the Ultra 7 155H doesn't break a sweat at 45 Celsius on average. 1.1 GHz on the E cores and 2.1 GHz on the P cores. CPU power is 10 to 15 watts. The dual fans stay quiet and the temperature at the side vents is 24 Celsius and 30 Celsius at the center of the keyboard. Set to high performance plugged in running Blender benchmarking, the CPU fluctuates between 2.5 GHz E cores to 4 GHz P cores. CPU temperature is around 101 Celsius and CPU power is constant at 75 to 80 watts. The fans do kick faster and louder up to 56 decibels. Temperatures around the side vents are 29 Celsius and 40 Celsius at the center of the keyboard. In battery mode balance mode video playback, the CPU power is 4 watts on average. Clock speed is 1 to 1.2 GHz on the E cores and 2 GHz on the P cores, and CPU temperature of 41 Celsius. The fans stay virtually silent and chassis temperatures hit 30 Celsius at most. Same can be said with running the Blender benchmark tool under battery mode best performance. CPU power hits 100 watts, then drops to 80 watts. 2.5 GHz on E cores to 3 to 4 GHz clock speed on the P cores, and CPU temperature of 64 Celsius. The dual fans and 4 vents do keep the fan noise 42 decibels at most and temperatures down 35 Celsius at most when running heavy workflows. Here's a list of the target audience for the Dell Inspiron 16 Plus: creative pros and content creators, business power users, content developers, gamers. There's an integrated Intel Arc 8-core iGPU inside the 7640. New inside this chip is AI Boost NPU with 2 Gen 3 engines for hardware AI workload acceleration. It has a graphics max dynamic frequency of 2.25 GHz and uses up to 16 GB of shared memory. The Intel Arc is backed up by a dedicated GPU in the form of the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 with 8 GB of GDDR6 memory. TGP or total graphics power is rated up to 70 watts. This is less than most 4060 gaming laptops that use up to 115 watts. The RTX 4060 is a high-end laptop GPU based on the AD107 chip and uses the Ada Lovelace architecture. On average, the 4060 is between the 3070 and 3070 Ti in general performance scores. Its sibling, the RTX 4070, is 13% above it in benchmark results. The 16 Plus will happily play AAA titles in 1440p, high or ultra settings with ease. It's a good laptop for casual gaming. Here are some gaming samples. There are security features with the 16 Plus to help protect your sensitive data. A fingerprint reader integrated into the power button, a webcam privacy shutter to stop prying eyes, and Intel firmware TPM 2.0 security encryption chip. Inside is a 90 watt-hour battery. There are security features with the 16 Plus to help protect your sensitive data, a fingerprint reader integrated into the power button, a webcam privacy shutter to stop prying eyes, and Intel firmware TPM 2.0 security encryption chip. Inside is a 90-watt-hour battery. Under video playback, balance mode 50% brightness, 120Hz. Battery life is just over 12.5 hours. Under balance mode 50% brightness, 120Hz. Power user usage, like web surfing or multiple tabs, web-based apps like Google Docs, a few Teams meetings, Word document. Battery life is around 4 to 5 hours. Under best performance, playing COD-free, 50% brightness. Battery life is less than 3 hours. Included is a 130-watt USB-C AC adapter. Express charge quickly charges up to 80% battery power in just 60 minutes. The good, the bad, and the really bad. SODIMM slot. There's 2 memory slots available to upgrade to a maximum of 64 GB DDR5, plus one M.2 SSD to upgrade the storage device. Pretty performance. Thanks.